Cute. Hello, welcome back. I'm Hannah. Today I want to talk about a whole bunch of things, starting with the title, which is why I skipped the new launch from Terra. So I want to talk about what I was going to buy, my whole experience with that. I feel like giving this explanation is making it sound dramatic. It's not that dramatic. It's just about me and my relationship with eyeshadows, and I want to talk about that. And then after that, I want to put on some eyeshadows that are kind of in the same vibe as the shadows that I was looking at picking up from the sale. And then just for the rest of my makeup, I have some other new products that I've been meaning to either try out on camera or talk about on camera. I have a Danessa Myricks eyeliner, I have a new powder from One Size, I have a new ColourPop highlighter palette, a new blush, I have a couple new lipsticks, and I'll see when we get to that point which one I want to use. But yeah, let's just go into my thoughts on the new launch. So last time Terra had a new launch, which I think was in like April or March or February. It was sometime this year. It wasn't too long ago. Actually, it was April. I remember that specifically because like Clionadh had a new launch at the same time. I think it was right around Looxi had a launch. And there were a bunch of shades that I was looking at that I liked a lot, but I just couldn't settle on the ones that I exactly wanted. I had a bunch I was leaning to, but I was also like being strict on my budget. And I just didn't want to carve the money out in my budget for shadows that I wasn't sure about. And I felt like I'll just pick up the shadows that I want on another launch, and by that time I'll have like a little bit more of an understanding of which shadows that I want. So from that launch, I did kind of narrow it down to Lightspeed, which is like the yellow sparkly one, and then Celestial Petal, which is like a light pink sparkly one, and Galactic Blossom, which was like this peachy multichrome that looked like the prettiest shade from that launch. There was an older one, Atlas, which was like a more iridescent blue shadow that I really wanted, and then ones that I was like a little bit more on the fence about was Axis, which was more of like a mid-toned coral, and then Terrestrial, which looked similar to Antares, but maybe more pink, maybe more gold. I still haven't put my finger on the difference, but I was interested in it anyway. And those are the kind of shadows that I was like really thinking about getting from that previous launch. So they started talking about this newest launch about a week and a half ago at this point. For me, the launch was yesterday. I don't know how quickly I'm going to get this video up, but if I'm saying last week, I'm talking about like when they previewed it in my time. I was really intrigued, so I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for a new launch so I can go back and get some of those older shadows with the new launch and then do like a big eye swatching video with like 8 or 10 shadows, something like that. And as they were unveiling these new shadows, I loved them. I loved a lot of them. There were some that like were deeper, and I'm just really realizing that I'm just not into deep shadows at this point of my makeup journey. So those were like instant no's, but there was a lot that were really pretty. And I narrowed my list down to 5 as of the day before the launch, which were Flare Star, which looks like a pink shadow, like a mid-toned bright pink with like a bronzy gold flip to it. And then Stellar Apotheosis, which looks a lot like the Cosmos, but it has a little bit more red in the flip. It's also really similar to Takeover from Shine by SD, which I don't have, but it had been on my wish list until I realized it was so similar to this one, and I wanted this one more. And then Solar Delirium, which looks like an explosive, bright orange yellow with like a green flip to it. And Ganymede, which I still haven't completely put my finger on it. I feel like it looks like the Cosmos, but maybe like a little bit more teal to it, or like a little bit more green to it, but also a little bit more like subtle and very gray based. And then the fifth one, which I did one and then I ended up kind of crossing off my wish list, was Cosmic Collision, which looks like a mid-toned lavender with like a yellow, goldish, greenish flip to it, which I realized that it looked like it might have too much of a base for me, because I find with some Terra Moon shadows that I already have, if they have too much of a base, I just don't want to wear them. Like I have these purples that I got like a year ago or something, and I'm just like, I'm over them. Like they just have too much of a purple base. But I also realized that it's really similar to Zenon from Give Me Glow, which I just got and I think is a really pretty, incredible shadow, and I don't want to purposely buy another shadow that's so similar to one that I just got and I really like. So I was at the point of being at the 4 shadows: Flare Star, Stellar Apotheosis, Solar Delirium, and Ganymede. And with those 4 shadows, oh, I didn't mention also that in my thinking, I started eliminating the shadows that I had previously wanted from that prior launch. That light yellow, light speed, I realized it's just like, it's kind of similar to the Looxi shadow, Lick It, Slam It, Suck It, that I still don't like the name of, but I have to live with it. It's kind of similar to that. And like my thought was like, oh, maybe it's a better version of that, but it's like, the Looxi shadow is fine. I don't wear it that much anyway, but like it's fine and I don't need to be constantly upgrading. The Celestial Petal shade, I was like, you know, the sparkle in it looks really pretty, but at the end of the day, it's just a light pink, and I have all these other light pinks that are really pretty. Galactic Blossom, I'm like, the Multichrome in it is really cool. I'm sure it's a gorgeous shadow. All of these, I'm sure it's a gorgeous shadow, but I have other peaches that I can wear if I want a peach shadow, and most of the time it's going to boil down to being a peach shadow. And, you know, Terrestrial, it's like I have in Terrace, why am I even thinking about that? Axis, the coral shade, I'm like, do I even really like that much? So at this point I was down to wanting 4 shades. And for the 4 shades, I'm like, would it even be worth it for me to do an eye swatching video? The thing with Terra Moons is that they've been sending out a lot of PR to a lot of creators that I follow on Instagram, and these creators are making such good content around it. Quick shout out, mjones5018 is like the picture that I'm looking at right now as I'm like talking about these. She does really beautiful swatches that capture the flips really well. Also, Seeking Shifts, she's been making a lot of content, a lot of really good comparisons. She did eye swatches of these. There's other creators, there's Local.Blush, who's been making really nice swatches. Glam Smitty has really nice swatches. There's just so many creators that they've sent PR to. I find it very personally useful to go through my decision making by cross-referencing from all the different swatches from all these different creators. But at the same time, when it comes to me using my YouTube channel as a justification to myself for buying some of these shadows, I'm like, is there really anything else for me to say about them? When I get these after the pre-order in September, late August, whenever it's going to be, it's not like I'm going to be the first one to show them. It's not like it's going to be the biggest source of growth ever for my YouTube channel. You know, it would be fun to do. I'm sure there are viewers that I have that would like to see it, but that's not enough of a justification for me to buy them when there's already so much content out there about these shadows, you know what I mean? So then, especially when it came down to me getting 4 of them, I'm like, maybe I wouldn't do a whole swatch video, maybe I would just incorporate them into a look. But it just, I don't know, it just started kind of feeling more silly to me, because it's like, I have to recognize at this point that I'm not doing it for my YouTube, I'm doing it for myself, which is fine, but do I really need them at all? I think that's what it started boiling down to. Do I really need them at all? The 4 that I wanted were all Multichromes, so they were all $17 each. There's a lot of codes out there to use, and I did the math that for those 4 shadows and shipping, it would have been about $65, which is not cheap. And then I was just like, I have so many other shadows that are really pretty that I feel like I don't use enough. So do I need to buy these now and further inflate my eyeshadow collection, which then got me thinking, how much eyeshadow does a person need? And like, that sounds rhetorical, but I was like, literally, how much eyeshadow does a person need? And I started thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, so what's the minimum amount of times in a year that I can use an eyeshadow and still feel like I'm getting regular use out of it? And I thought maybe 20. And even 20's not that high of a number. It means that every month you're using the shadow once, and then 2/3 of the months you're using it an additional time. So like, when you think of it like that, it doesn't even feel like 20 would be that much, but that's the number I'm going to stick with. And then I was like, how many days in a year do I even wear makeup? And like, a rough estimate, I was like maybe 280. I feel like I do wear makeup most of the time, but there are a lot of days that I'm going to work and I don't put on makeup and I wake up late, or, you know, whatever it is. I thought 280 is a good number. So 280 days divided by 20 times using a shadow would leave me with 14 shadows to wear all over my eye, which is how I tend to wear eyeshadows most of the time now. And then maybe we'll add in 5 shadows as an inner corner shade, and then maybe add in 5 shimmers to deepen up the lid shimmer with, which I don't always do, but I do like having the option of. And that brings me to 24 shimmers is the amount that I feel like I could have in my collection and get good use out of all of them. And earlier in the year, in January, after I did a collection video about all of my palettes, I counted up all of my pans of shadow that I have in palettes, and I added that in with the pans of shadow that I have in my magnetic pans that I counted up for my inventory, and I had roughly 1,000 pans of eyeshadow. So if we say that half of them are matte, which probably not, probably less than half of them are matte, but we're just going to say that, I already have 500 shimmers in my collection. I have 500 shimmer shadows, and I feel like I could use 24 to the amount that I want to use my eyeshadows in a year, and I'm still looking for more eyeshadows to buy? I don't know. You know, we all have different relationships with our makeup. There's been times that I've been more in a collecting mood, in a just like wanting to have it, and you know, it's fine if you like having a bigger collection, you like knowing you have it, or whatever else. Like, you know, the joy doesn't have to be in using it for makeup. The joy could be in owning it or collecting it, or, you know, whatever you want to say. But for me, I've just been really wanting to feel like I use my makeup, and realizing those numbers just made it sound so silly that I was stressing out about buying shadows with money that I don't want to spend, not really to make content with them. And I have all these other shadows in my collection that never get use. So it was like 15 minutes before the launch that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna buy them. And I really surprised myself by thinking of it, because like, when you're so in the mindset of like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm waiting for the time to buy it, it just doesn't feel like an option at that point to just be like, no. So that's what I did. And those are the reasons that I decided to skip the new launch from Terra Moons. I think the shadows that were on my wish list, I still want them. And I still think they're gorgeous. I still believe that if I had them, I would be happy with them. I would swatch them and I'd be like, this is a good shadow. But they would probably very easily fall into where most of my collection is falling now, which is just like, oh, I like it, but I have this constant feeling of like, I wish I could use it. I wish I could use it more. I wish I had more eyelids. I wish I had more time, and I don't. That's my reality. If I keep wanting these shadows, I could buy them in the future. I know they always have like a sale sometime around the holiday season. Maybe I'll pick them up then. I don't know. But I just felt like I have so many beautiful shadows in my collection that I already feel like I don't use, and I can use those similar shadows to get a really beautiful multi-chromatic look, and it'll still feel fresh because I'm not like sick of my shadows because I never use them enough, you know? So that's the premise. That's the premise of this video. So I pulled out 5 shadows to represent the 5 that I was planning on getting before I eliminated the 5th one. So the shadow that looked like Zenon, Cosmic Collision, I pulled out Zenon. So beautiful, such a big juicy pan of gorgeous lavender shadow. Love it. And then I pulled out the Cosmos because I feel like it does kind of have similar vibes to Stellar Apotheosis and Ganymede, but if I'm assigning one of these colors to each of the shadows, then the Cosmos I'm definitely going to be using in place of Stellar Apotheosis. And last night, after I was doing all of this thinking, I did smear this all over my eyes, and it was so pretty. I feel like I've used this shadow like twice since I've had it, and that's crazy because I love it and I think of it so fondly. But yeah, it was really nice to wear all over my eyelids. I posted a little video of it on my Instagram. I'm listening to Matt Mason. For Flare Star, I pulled out Hottie, which is from Shine by SD, and I always really like this shade because I feel like the pink in it is just like so bright and borderline neon, and that's how I felt about Flare Star. And then for Solar Delirium, I feel like that one might be a little bit more green, but I think this shadow does have like a surprising amount of green in it also. This one's also Shine by SD. It's the shade Summer Rush. And this one's a little bit more of a stretch because, I mean, Ganymede, I feel like it's an interesting shadow because I can't exactly like put my finger on it yet. I think it's the kind of thing that like I'm not gonna like understand until the point that I possibly own it and see it in person. But the thing that I like about it is just like this like bright olivey-ness to it, and it has like a really bright shift. And it just reminded me of Ochre from Clionadh, which is a shadow that I love, and I've probably used it like 1 time since I've gotten it. But I love this shadow, and I'm really excited to have it. So these are my 5 shadows today. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I kind of want to put them all on my eyes and just see what happens. This is probably a bad idea because I'm going to my boyfriend's house after this, and his aunt and uncle and cousin are coming in from out of town, and I don't know how I'm gonna look for this, but that's wacky Hannah. And furthermore, I didn't even mention yet that I have other eyeshadows that I recently ordered that are already on their way to me. So like, it's not like I'm like totally changing the world by not getting 4 shadows, but I recently made an order from Pretties for Your Face, and I got 9 shadows that I figured I'll do like an eye swatch video, like first impression on the brand when I get those, and I think that will be fun. And I ordered the 5 new Multichromes from Menagerie, so that's really exciting. And Looxi had a new launch yesterday also, so I picked up the 9 shadows from that launch. So there's other eyeshadows out the wazoo coming to me, and all of those will make better videos for my channel than getting these 4 shadows from Terra Moons would have. Okay, I don't know what to do. Usually when I do a look that has like a lot of different colors in it, if I'm going to like deviate from the eyes, which I feel like I have to like try to give each of these enough eyelid space, I like to match up the like depth. These are so all over the place. These are so like cool and warm. I'm just gonna go into it and see. So we're gonna start with Hottie from Shine by SD. I'm going to put that on the inner part of one of my eyelids, and then I'm going to do Summer Rush to match that up on the other one. And I did put on my Anastasia eye primer, if I didn't say that. So pretty. I think these Shine by SD shadows, sometimes they do like come alive more in the light, which is cool, but like I feel like putting this on, the formula on it might not be my favorite. It just feels very powdery, and I do think I prefer shadows that feel a little bit more flaky. but at the same time, it's really pretty. I don't get enough use out of it anyway, and it's not like if I were to get the Terra Moon shades and I would like go and declutter these, I would just like have more. I don't know, maybe that would be like an eventual compromise. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not I'm not obsessed right now with either of these. I do really like the tone of this, but like the formula and the finish aren't really blowing me away at the moment. Okay, I'm going to, I think I'm gonna do ochre, like low on my outer for both my eyes. I think these two would kind of blend together nicely because they share that like warmth in the base. This might be more of a issue. Yeah, these don't go together at all. Ochre is so nice. I feel like this type of color, like that bright pink, appeals to me more on like a general level, but like something about this ochre just does it to me. And then above that, I'm going to put the Cosmos. Okay, yeah, this look makes no sense. I don't know. Maybe I should have done more thinking before I started. I just wanted to smear a lot of color in my eye and hope it ended up cool. It's interesting because I feel like with this eye, because Summer Rush and Ochre kind of blended into each other nicely, it feels more like one shadow on my lid, so like 2 shadows total. And this eye really feels like 3 different shadows. I think I'm going to do like a little swap with those bright warm shades and put some Hottie above Summer Rush here and then do the opposite on this eye. I need a brush. It's a vibe, right? Like, I definitely like it more now that it hasn't that in it than when it had nothing. But I do wish that the shadow picked up better with the brush. I'm gonna use like a little bit of a firmer brush. I'm gonna use a pencil brush. Oh yeah, that's better. And I can really get more like a defined line into that crevice there. Okay, yeah, that's definitely helping. I'm just gonna purposely try to make this like a little bit messier up here to match the other side. And I think I am going to take, I guess originally I thought I was going to do Zenon on my lower lash line, but I think I'm gonna take some up here into like the brow bone. And then we can decide to do whatever we want to do for the lower lash line. Okay, like, is this look pretty? Wearable? Something that you at home are going to recreate? No, but I like it artistically. I like the concept of it. Yeah, I'm going to just pop on my base really quickly. I'm going to use my CoverGirl Skin Milk and my Tarte Shape Tape. And then I'm going to come back. We're going to powder our under eyes together with the new powder that I got. And then we'll do the lower lash line. So give me 1 second. Okay, my base is on and I'm just going to powder my under eyes. So I got the powder, the Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder from One Size Beauty. It's in the shade Fair 3N. I had gotten at least one comment about this, so I decided to try it out. I really do like the packaging. I like the like red chrome. I know like it gets all like fingerprinty and stuff and that's annoying, but I do like it. And so far I've used this powder a couple times. I do like it. I wish it had a little bit less kick up. That's the kind of thing that like with an eyeshadow, I accept it and I'm used to it and like it's a fine trade-off for me for like having pigmented eyeshadows. But like for a face powder, I don't know. Like there's so many face powders that don't have kick up that I just wish this one didn't, because I feel like I am like wasting product and then it's just like messier for no reason. But other than that, I have been enjoying this recently. I definitely like it more than I've liked any of my other recent powders, which is pretty much just like the CoverGirl Clean Fresh powder, which is what I just finished up, and the Charlotte Tilbury powder, like, did absolutely nothing for me. So I like the coverage for this better than I like those. So that's my little review so far. Now for under eyes. Well, actually, let me say first, for my eyelids, looking at this in the mirror when I was putting my base on, I do like this. It's a weird look. It's not something I'm necessarily going to be recreating, but I like how my idea of wanting to use my shadows and smear them all over my eyes translated into this. But I do feel like that Summer Rush isn't giving it to me. Looking at Hottie, especially in lower light, I could see what is so special about it, just like the brightness of it. And I think it's a shadow that I will continue to use even if I do eventually get Flare Star. But I feel like Summer Rush could be on the chopping block. I might use it again, like all over my eyes, just like as like a trial run to see before I do anything rash. But I think of all these shadows, like they all like earn their place in being part of my magnificent eyeshadow collection, except for Summer Rush. So for the lower lash line, I think I want to just do ochre on like the outer half of it, kind of even just like wrapping it down from the eyeliner area up here, and then do the Cosmos on the inner half of the lower lash line. And then I'm going to choose like a different shade for my inner corner. The Cosmos is such an interesting, versatile shade, and I feel like it has all these different colors in it that makes it feel like it goes with everything. Okay. Ooh, I know what I'm gonna do for my inner corner. I'm gonna go into the Looxi shade, whose name I don't like, because it's this yellow that I like on my inner corner, and I need to just use this instead of thinking about replacing it with the other yellow from Terra Moons. I think that's a decision that I'm like pretty happy with, and I hope to not change. Because if I have like a perfectly good shadow that just doesn't excite me, like I don't need to be constantly upgrading. Yeah, it goes with the weirdness of it. That like transition from this into the Cosmos isn't my favorite, but like it's fine. It's weird and it works. I might add a little bit more powder though under, because I think those like shimmer shades on my lower lash line are a little bit explodey. For my waterline, I have a new product that I've used I think twice, and I'm so thoroughly jazzed about it. It's the Danessa Myricks. It doesn't have like the exact name in the product on here, but it's like the Multichrome eyeliner that they have. I got the shade Lemon Quartz. When it first came out, I really wanted the lilac one. I think it was called like Lilac Quartz, but my hesitation on that is that it looks so light. And I guess I'm kind of picky about like the tones of my eyeliners because I don't want them to be so deep because my eyeshadow generally isn't deep. I like them to be shiny, but I also don't want them to be so like bright and like white based that it stands out too much. So I decided to go with this Lemon Quartz one, and I'm really happy that I did. I just think it's really pretty and I really like it. Like it just extends the shininess into my waterline a little bit. I feel like I've only heard like one creator talk about this, and I don't even know if they tried them or if it was just like their ideas about this type of product, because I think they were saying that like for something as small as your waterline, you won't be able to see like the multichrome effect. And I kind of feel like with this, like I don't need it to, but like I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera, but I do notice that I can see in person it being like a different color from like one side to the other side. And it's cool. Like I don't need it to be multichrome, but it's cool. I mostly just like that it's shiny. Another new product that I got is this blush that I think I've used once. It's from PYT. It's the shade Exhale. It's a hot flush blush. I got this from Ulta, but I know they also sell it at like ASOS and Macy's. But I wanted this because I saw a while ago someone posted a picture on Instagram of like a really light pink blush. I think it was like a Clinique blush, and I don't buy from Clinique because they test on animals, but I liked the idea of a really light pink blush that I kind of like load up on and have that too much blush look on my face, but not be so deep as it would with most other blush shades on my skin tone. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So I think this kind of fits the bill for that for me, that I can just have like a lot of blush without looking too blushy. You see that? I wasn't even sure if it was gonna like show up on camera nicely. This also has a lot of kickback, which is also bothering me for some reason. But I feel like it just looks pretty and soft and girly and flushed, and I like it. It's just like a pink face powder for me. And the formula of it feels really nice. It like blends while I'm putting it on, which is what I want a blush to do, obviously. It doesn't even, like, it builds up a little bit, but not to the point that it's too much, and I don't want it to build up so much. I like that. The next one is this Midas Shell Super Shock Highlighter Palette from ColourPop. I bought this the day it released. I think it was like the last day of June or something like that. And the reason that I wanted it is because I love this from ColourPop. This is the Sugar Frosted Cheek Palette, and I think it might be my favorite thing that I have from ColourPop right now, and especially the Super Shock highlighter here. It looks kind of boring and plain, but it has like a red flip to it, and it's really cool and really pretty, and I really like it. So when I saw they had like a whole palette coming out, I was into it. So this I've kept my grubby hands out of, and there's so much going on the eyes today that I think I just want to use this kind of more like goldy champagne one. And I'm just going to go in with my finger. Yeah, it definitely feels like a nice little soft Super Shock. My first thought is I wonder if it's too deep for me. No, maybe not. I don't know what I was expecting. It's not, it doesn't feel that exciting to me. But like, it's nice. I think that's the problem when you have one thing that you like and then you buy more things that are similar because of how much you like the one thing. That I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this as much as I like this. But it looks pretty. I think I am going to go into a little bit of the first one. Maybe just on the high points. I am nervous that this one's gonna like look a little gray or something. I think it looks nice. I feel like when you have an eye look like this, it's like very easy for the face to like start looking messy also. But I think I like this. Yeah. I'm going to put on my mascara and maybe take a look at my lip product options, and we'll come back here and put that on together. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I selected the Rowan lip balm in the shade Charlie. I haven't used this one before, and I'm nervous it's going to be really sheer and I might not like that about it with this look, but I figured we'll try it out, and if it is, then maybe I'll put it back on with the lip liner or something like that. But I just really like the color of it. It smells like a little bit like mint chocolate chip, like the Urban Decay lip glosses do. Okay. This is nice. It's a funny doe foot because, like, I guess there's some kind of like hole in there and I can feel it on my lips when I apply it. It does feel cooling, which I don't like, but I do like the formula of it. It kind of feels like a serum-y gloss, and I think I'll leave it on for now. I was kind of going back and forth about if I'm going to change my makeup before I go to my boyfriend's house, and I think I'm just gonna leave it. You know, whatever, who cares? It's a lot, but I like it. I sent him a picture and he said it looked like Pride makeup. And I guess it kind of does because it's like from warm to cool, you know? Cute. So in conclusion, Zenon is absolutely gorgeous. Ochre is absolutely gorgeous. The Cosmos is absolutely gorgeous. Hottie is absolutely gorgeous. And Summer Rush, a little bit on the fence about. When it comes to changing my makeup for tonight, which I feel like I'm not going to do, I think I'm just going to live my life and embrace it. I'm less bothered at this point by the eyes than I am by the highlighter. I don't know, when I'm like looking at it in the actual mirror, something about it's just like not sitting on my skin the right way. It might be the color, it might be that one of those is a little bit too gray or something, and it just makes my cheeks look like mucky. So I don't know, I definitely have to play around with that highlighter palette more. It's possible I'll just end up maybe liking one or two of them and not all of them, or I don't know, maybe the thing that I like about the other highlighter palette is really just like the flip and it's not all that special otherwise, and I should have just stuck with liking the one that I have. But that's how I feel about that. The cheeks are very subtle. The blush color, I think it comes up more pink on the camera than it looks in my mirror, but I do still like it. It is like borderline, did I put on blush or not kind of cheeks in person. Powder, I like. I did add more concealer also, by the way, on top of the powder, just because I felt like the lower lash line shadows were a little bit out of control and it layered well with the extra concealer. The lips, I like the look of, but the mintiness of it is bothering my lips a little bit. I don't think it's supposed to be like a plumper or anything like that, but I don't like any of plumping sensation lip glosses, and this like mintiness is kind of giving me that vibe a little bit. And yeah, don't buy more eyeshadows if you already feel like you need to get more use out of the ones you have. I think that's everything summed up there. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. I would really appreciate it. And that's everything for today. Bye. Thanks for watching.